Well, hi. It is Wednesday, October 30th, 2024, and time for another morning coffee. I'm Todd Studer. Thank you so much for waking up with me, or if you're watching it later in the day, thanks for ending your day with me, or at any point. That's the great thing about these, is that it's not like my former career when you had to listen live right at that point. You can go back and watch these anytime. So whatever time it is, I hope that you are having or have had a wonderful day. Today's coffee cup is because we have a new podcast that is now in production. It has not been released yet, and I'll keep you updated as that is going on. But check this out. This is so cool. This is a Yeti. It's really nice, and it's from Pot County Sports and Family Chiropractic in Council Bluffs and also in Oakland, Iowa. Dr. Nate Wichman and his wife, Melissa, head up this business, and Dr. Nate has a wealth of information about your health. And he is going to be sharing all of that. He's going to be having guests on with other healthcare providers from around the region, and it's going to be a fascinating podcast. So I'll keep you updated as that gets a little bit closer to a release date. You know, every morning I have a new topic that I'm going to talk about, and sometimes they come right to me, what I'm going to talk about, and other times not. And I've been thinking about today, and I've been thinking about why it is that I'm doing what I'm doing, and why it is that I have brought this business back, because I had it before. And I don't want to go into too many details because it can start to sound like sour grapes. And I don't mean for it to be that way. But, you know, I let somebody talk me out of my dream and to go work on their dream. And it was the wrong move. I knew probably within 6 weeks after doing it that it was an absolute wrong move for me. And the farther we got into it, the worse it got. And eventually, just for my own health and well-being, I had to separate and came back to doing this of what it is that I know. And it looks a little bit different now than it used to. You know, when I was doing podcasting before, I wasn't doing video. I was only doing audio. I didn't see the value in video. And now I can't see not doing video. I've found that people really actually prefer it this way because you can get both video and audio. I have a lot of folks that listen to the show that they just turn it on either on YouTube or on Facebook, which is the platforms we're releasing on now, and they get ready for their morning and they're just listening, which I think is great. Others sit down and watch it. I talked with one lady that she actually casts it over to her television so she can watch it on the big screen, which I think is really, really cool. But I was thinking about this particular topic, and I've said it before, whether on Facebook posts or I think in past podcasts over the years, that if you want to be successful, you need to get comfortable with failure. And that doesn't mean you're trying to fail, but it does mean that you need to be okay with it. And I'm a classic example of that things did not go the way that I wanted them to or thought that they would. And some of it was out of my control, but not all of it. However, I learned from it, and things are different now and things are better now. That's what can come from failure. I personally have never learned a single thing by doing it correctly, because if I did it correctly, I already knew it. I'm not learning. But when I fail, now I'm learning, and something new information is coming into my head, and I have to figure this out and see what direction we can go from here. You know, I talked a little bit on my last Campfire Conversations podcast that I did with Tina Bakehouse about my former sportscasting career. And I explained to her that, you know, when I first got started, I didn't really know, I didn't have my own style. And I was kind of copying everybody else's. I take a little bit of here, a little bit of there. For a while, I was kind of hung up on. Do you remember Dick Enberg? His catch was "Oh my." He would say that a lot. I was doing that until somebody pointed out to me and said, "You know what? You probably should stop." And so that's when I did. For me personally, one of my heroes was Gary Thorne. Gary used to call hockey on ABC, and I thought he was just phenomenal at it. And I loved his energy, and I tried to pattern a lot of what I was doing after him. But eventually, I found my own voice. and won some awards for doing it, and was very grateful for those. But it that's how this worked for me, and it's kind of how it's working again with this. I started a few weeks ago. We're 3.5 weeks now into this show, and I said on the very first one, I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know how this is going to go, and I still don't really know, but I can already see it's starting to shift a little bit, and I'm starting to talk a little bit more about my own personal journey, and folks are responding to that because I think that they can relate to that. I know a lot of successful business owners. I also know business owners that have had to close their doors and went back into the sector where they're working for somebody else. That's fine. I think it's great that you went out there and you tried, you gave it a shot, and I'm sure that you learned from that. And my guess is it made you a better employee when you went back to work for somebody else, because now you can relate to what happened on the owner's side and you can better serve a person on that side. So we are all learning all the way through this, and just as I am learning with how we are doing things here. I like to think that I'm pretty good at it. I like to think that I put together a pretty good podcast, but I also know that I don't know everything. And as technology continues to advance, we continue to look at different options of how we're doing things. Does this work better or does that work better? And 5 years from now, it's probably going to look completely different than it does today. I talk a lot about Joe Rogan, and I watch Joe Rogan, but not necessarily for whatever topic he may be talking about. Joe Rogan is very, very good and could be the best that I've ever heard at being able to carry on a conversation and keep it compelling for 3 hours. That's not an easy thing to do. I couldn't do it, but that's one of the things that I really admire about the man. The other thing is his willingness to put the time in. You go back early on and look at some of the early stuff that he did. By the way, good luck finding it because it's not really easy anymore. But he started off just in an apartment with a camera at a bad angle, couple of stage mics, and just talking with his friends. And that's how the whole thing started. And he went for 5 years before he ever saw any money at all for doing it. But he was doing it because he had a passion for it. I think that there's a lesson to be learned in that you need to be willing to put the time in. And you need to be willing to, well, as I put it when I was talking with Tina on the podcast, and I've said it many other times, be willing to suck for a while. It's okay. If you decide that you want to do a podcast, or if I decide I want to do a podcast, the first one that I do will always be the worst one because I will continue to get better. And it's not something that I can't hold myself to the same standard of somebody that has been doing it for 10 years. As I said, I can't do what Rogan does. There's a lot of podcasters out there that I can't do what they do, but I can do what I do. And I think that that has proven to be working pretty well. We've got some guests that are going to be coming up very, very soon on Morning Coffee. We're talking with different folks around the community. We're going to be having some of our sponsors on to learn a little bit more about what it is that they do and how they like to give back to the community. I've got some community organizations scheduled to be on the show. I'm looking forward to that because anytime that there's something going on in the community that gives back to Council Bluffs and the surrounding areas, I love to learn about that, and I love to give them a voice and to be able to talk about that. So all of that is still coming up. Some of the folks that are helping us out here so far, AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning and Waldstein Plumbing. We've been talking about Travis for a while, talking about not only his commitment to the area, because Travis could have gone anywhere, but he decided that this is where he wanted to raise his family, and all of his boys went through the Lewis Central School System in Council Bluffs, and they are all seeing success in their chosen fields. And I think that that's a testament to not only Travis, but his wife, Amy, about what it is that they do. And his business philosophy, you can see, has been picked up by his kids. And I think that in itself is proof of just how good he is and how good he is for the community. Also, somebody else that's very good for the community. We're going to be talking with him very, very soon. It is George Ivanov with The Best Wrestler. If you have a young person that is getting into wrestling, maybe they have already been doing it for a while, this is the club that you want to get them involved with. So go to thebestwrestler.com, learn about George Ivanov's story. You can always go back and watch the Campfire Conversations episode that I recorded with him and learn even more. Hear about his story of wrestling for Bulgaria in the Rio Olympics in 2016. I can't even imagine what it was like to compete on a stage that big. And also how he's now passing on that knowledge on to the next generation. Prairie and Pine Real Estate Group, Keller Williams of Greater Omaha. That is Mackenzie Shelton. And Mackenzie and her family live in Iowa. They have an acreage, and they're Mackenzie's a fascinating woman, and she's also an expert in real estate, and she's a great addition. We'll be talking with her periodically as we move on with the show, so we can learn more about what's going on in the real estate world. And because, there are people that are making a transition from one side of the river to the other, and she's going to be able to give us information about what's happening in both markets on both sides. So it's going to be a great addition to what's going on here. Sue Pitts with Just Sue Creative built my website. Please go to lushillsmedia.com and take a look. It's just a wonderful website. I couldn't be happier. And most of what's on there is not any of my own ideas. She came up with this. She said, "Hey, what do you think of this? How do you like this? Does this look good?" I went, "Holy cow, that looks phenomenal." So I was very, very thankful for all of the work that she put in. And if you're looking to do something with your website, need some help with SEO so you show up a little bit better in the search engines, or help with your social media marketing or any of that, Sue with Just Sue Creative, you're going to want to give her a call and find out. Foxco Fabrication right here in Council Bluffs. When they were up at the farmers market in Crescent, and they had a big booth set up there with a lot of items that Rick had made, and other folks inside of his shop. Went up there and sat with them one Saturday, and I heard a lot of times, "Hey, where are you guys from?" Once people heard he was from Council Bluffs, it was, "Oh, wow, we have access to this level of of artistry in the metalworks right here." And that's just part of what he does. He is a phenomenal welder, and has a lot of very big clients. And also they're making flatbed trucks now, so you can take the box off of your truck and make it a flatbed. So if you're a contractor and that could be a benefit to you, foxcofab.com is the website. Go take a look at what they're doing. Get a hold of Rick and see what else you can learn from there. And I'm guessing that you'll want to move forward with that. And also, Service Master Restore by Schmader. Cindy Schmader has, I met her a few years ago, and I found out very quickly that she is not only a successful businesswoman, but she's also a successful person. And she has made her life's mission to be able to help folks when they've gone through some sort of disaster, and she can help get back a lot of your cherished memories that, a lot of items that you thought maybe you had been damaged beyond repair. Well, give Cindy a call and let her take a look, because a lot of times she can say, "You know what, maybe there is something here." I know she was doing photo restoration after things have been damaged. So there's a lot of options you might have there. Just some of the sponsors. We have more coming on as the weeks and months move ahead. I talked before many times about the purpose of this program. It's to support this area, and to support Council Bluffs, surrounding communities throughout Pottawatomie County and throughout Southwest Iowa. This is where I call home. This is what I want to be able to promote, and I want to be able to showcase to other areas, not just here locally, but we're also reaching out even farther. I'm getting comments from folks in other parts of the country that have seen this show, and I think that that's important. I think that, I hear a lot of times that Council Bluffs is just a blue collar town, and that's not a negative thing. It just means, folks in this town believe in hard work, and they understand that that's how you get through life. As I got a motorcycle going by outside, you can probably hear a little bit, but that's just part of everything that goes on. I used to put out these short little videos, and one of the things that I used to talk about is you can't wait for everything to be perfect to get started on something. It's just not ever going to happen. And that's one of them. Right now I'm not working in a soundproof booth anymore. So we're going to get a little exterior noise on occasion. It's all right. I've still got a pretty good microphone in front of me, and we still got a pretty good set behind me. And I also know that Foxco Fabrication has a sign coming pretty soon. It's going to just make this place look even better. That's on its way. So it's just step by step by step. If you'd ever like to talk about what's involved in getting a podcast going for yourself, really, if I don't know of a better way of getting your message out. We are all online now. And I think that for folks that are a little bit behind with that, you're falling further behind. Whether you use me to do it or you're just doing it on your own, I want to encourage you to start making video shorts and start getting into that technology world with your business if you haven't done it already, because that's where everything is at now, and it's not going away. They said back in the early 90s or whenever it was, what was that first search engine that came out? Was it Prodigy? Is that what it was? That you had to call into a long distance number to connect, and you were calling in on a landline, and you got that tone, and it was like $1.50 a minute or some kind of crazy thing like that. And you could go to, what was it, a dozen websites or something that you could go to take a look at. Now the websites are in the billions, and that's where everybody eventually got to, and they understood I've got to have a website. I don't know of hardly any businesses that don't have websites now. They at least have a social media accounts that they can connect to people on. This is just another generation of that, being able to reach out to folks with video shorts and longer form podcasts. It's not as difficult as you think, and I'd love to be able to have a conversation with you about that. So just send me an email, toddstuder@gmail.com. Again, as I mentioned, a lot of guests that are going to be coming up in the coming days and weeks here on Morning Coffee. I'm looking forward to all of it. And also send me an email if you know of somebody that we can have on that has a nonprofit. I just, nonprofits and community organizations and things like that. I want to get as many of those folks on as possible. So reach out to me, let me know. And, or if you have one yourself and you say, hey, I'd like to be a guest on your show, I want to hear from you. toddstuder@gmail.com is the website, or has the email address. I apologize. So that's going to wrap things up here for this morning. Thank you so much for letting me just help you get your day kicked off. Or as I mentioned before, maybe you're wrapping up your day or however it is. I see the numbers come in. I see how many folks are watching, and I'm seeing the numbers going up all the time. We have more viewers and listeners now than we did at the beginning, and it's going to continue to grow. So if you can hit the like button, if you can hit the share button, that's a big help on my side. Obviously, shares are really huge because that gets the folks that you're connected to access to it. It's just kind of like their ticket to the ball. They still have to go and they still have to watch the video, but at least they would then have access to it. So if you like what we're doing here and you can hit that share button, it would be a big, big help to me. So thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday, and we will see you again tomorrow morning. My name's Todd Studer. Have a great day.